everyone, it's Carolyn, here to share more channeled messages from the Light Keepers. They're a group of angelic beings I channel for your awakening and ascension journey support. So today, they brought me the topic of transcendence, which really is the idea of being able to still be in our world and have our spiritual experience. And as you know, throughout most of my videos, we very much talk about how this experience we're having as awakened individuals is connected to the earth. The connection that we offer from the higher realms as we continue to vibrate higher, we bring that back into our world. So that's what we're talking about today, is the idea of transcendence, but still being able to be here on this earth plane. And what does that actually mean? But today, with respect to that, we're going to talk about two things that are occurring right now for many or most of us. Now, it depends on where you're at in the process in a way, but many people are feeling this. And the things that we're going to talk about today are really symptoms of the idea of transcendence, the fact that we are transcending. And we'll get into the detail of that. I'm going to talk about a few things where you'll know if that's occurring or not for you. There may be some other things that you could list out, but I'm going to list the things that I have had occur and that many other people I've talked to over literally just the last 2 or 3 weeks are having occur in spades. So I'm Carolyn, I'm a channel, I'm a distance energy healer, and I'm a spiritual awakening mentor, and I offer these channels for your support during your life journey. So I hope you enjoy them, and if you're new, check out below. I do have a video that actually leads you then into my email list where I offer you a channeled support message every week, typically on Fridays or Saturdays of the week before, from the Light Keepers. So you'll get more free content from me there. All right, so today I don't have a channel. I'm just going to talk about this because I had a really long conversation today where we listed out some things we want to talk about with respect to transcendence and the things that people are noticing now. 2 big things. First, it's being extremely unmotivated to do about anything. And I'm not kidding you. So mind you, this is the first video since I've been back from vacation. I just got back. I think those of you who've watched my video prior to this knew I was leaving and going to Sedona. And by the way, I did take some video clips, but it's going to take some work to maybe make that a video. I'm not sure I'm going to, but we'll see. Point is, I'm back now, right? And you could argue, well, you're back from vacation, you should feel amazing and wonderful. But that doesn't mean just because I went somewhere else, even to Sedona, that I'm not experiencing the same things as the collective and as we are during this time of transcendence, these same kinds of phases that we're going to, because I am, all right? So the thing is, it doesn't matter what you're doing, where you're going, you're still going to feel some of these same things to one degree or another. Now, if you're not noticing any of this right now, which I would argue you probably are noticing at least 1 or 2 things, just know that as you move forward in your journey of awakening, this is probably going to happen. In essence, what they're telling me is these are phases of transcendence. It's also tied directly to where we're at in the collective with the situations going on now. The rampaging virus, we all thought, there's a part of us that all thought that was going to be done this summer, right? Well, things are shifting and changing fast right now to move us into 2021. So we've got those energies. We have the energies from all of our planetary systems and our moon and our sun, and we can go on and on about that. And we've talked about those things before. So we have a lot bombarding us, but understand that what I'm going to talk about today is part of this transcending into the higher vibrations, the higher energies, the awakening journey. But they're being exasperated and probably even accentuated very purposefully by what's currently going on in the collective. Be it the virus, be it our world situation, be it our politics, whatever it is. So today we're going to talk about being unmotivated and this idea of detachment. How do you know if these things are happening? Are the things that you're currently feeling part of this? And that's what I'm trying to help you with, because it can be very, very disturbing. What I have found with this phase right now that has occurred for me, I would say over the last couple months, very specifically, but right now, the last few weeks, very severely, I would say. So with respect to this idea of being detached from so much, one of the things that you may notice is suddenly you have little or no emotion on topics that used to bring you great emotion. All right, whether it's joy, happiness, sadness, sorrow, whatever that is, now all of a sudden you're just kind of here. You're in the middle of the emotional extremes, I guess I would say, of, being joyful and happy or being terribly sad and miserable. There's an interesting thing happening now with people where as an emotional situation approaches them, it doesn't mean you're not going to express it or feel it, but in general, you're going to get over it a lot faster. You're also going to be able to center yourself more fully, and your emotion isn't going to be that strong. It's part of that, this is real hard to explain, it's part of that moving into that observer role where your higher self is leading the way and less the human leading the way, because the human usually leads the way with great emotion, all right? Now, joy and happiness is fantastic, right? However, what you find with the higher self is, they just said measured. It's a more measured approach. Okay. Because think about this. They just said sometimes exhilaration can take you over the top. Yeah, if some of you are going to understand this, where like you get far too excited and thrilled about something, and that can take you into other things that cause you to do things that aren't necessarily for your higher good. I know exactly what they're talking about, especially if you're kind of an extremist with things. So what they're giving me here is that we are coming into more a state of being. And it feels very strange to one degree or another for us, because suddenly we don't have those wide-ranging emotions. Okay, now you can argue, if you meditate every day, that happens anyway. This is different, okay? This is more extreme. I've meditated for 4 years, twice a day. This is not that. This is a very detached feeling, almost as though, and I've said this before, like you're watching a movie, but you're still involved. You're a cast member, but it's like you're off to the side and waiting to come into your role. It's as though you play your part and you step aside and then you watch everything else happen. You play your part, you step aside, you watch everything happen with very little emotion and reaction to it. I don't know how well I've explained this first one, but I want to put that out there because I will tell you, for me, it's rather disturbing in that way, because it leads to this next one, which is the struggle to find joy or enjoyment or interest in the things that used to bring you joy, literally just maybe a month ago. Okay, so a lot of this is shifting and changing right now. I'm going to give you some really basic examples. So for me, joy could be found during what I will call a difficult year at night of listening to comedy and making myself laugh, because I'm a really joyful person and happy, and that's just naturally who I am. There's not a lot that gets me down. I just kind of deal with things. But I have found myself wanting to be more distracted. This is another part of the symptoms that you're going to find that will tell you that you are in this phase of transcendence. So, feeling very uninterested in things that used to bring you joy. Cooking, for me. I live alone, but I love to cook. I don't even know what I want to eat anymore. I'm not really enjoying the idea of cooking. I'll get the idea in my head, and then it quickly loses its enjoyment. Watching comedy at night to kind of go to bed on and have a good laugh. No, not even sure what I want to watch. I don't, basically. I'm not doing much of anything extra that used to bring me joy. Now, that doesn't mean I'm depressed. This is something I want you to be aware of. A lot of us are going to mistake this for depression. And yes, we can argue that some of this could be a low level, I guess I would say sadness, but that's not what this is. This is the breaking apart of all that we have been attached to for so long. It's the next phase of this, into the being, all right? The being phase. It doesn't mean we're not interacting. It doesn't mean we're not doing things day to day. Now, the extreme example of this is you could go be a monk. I mean, honestly, seriously, that's the truly detached version, the way some have chosen to get to transcendence. But here's the thing, the vast majority of us are not here to do that this time. We've all probably had monk lives or lives where we've, sheltered ourselves from others, but this is where most of us are not going to be experiencing this. So what's happening is we're in many ways feeling that monk-like state where to one degree or another, but we know we're here to still be involved. This is the tricky part, okay? Because what we have to be able to do is we go through this phase, and what I'm gathering is that, okay, they're talking about kicking it into the next gear then. We're not there yet, all right? I mean, some of us might be, but I'm talking about where I'm at now, where I see others being. It doesn't mean we're all there. But anyway, it is a phase. So that said, kicking it into the next gear will come after this, but this is a phase that we really need to sink into. So as you sit there and think, God, all I want to do is sit and stay in bed all day and watch Netflix, if I can even find anything I'm interested in, or watch YouTube, or watch funny posts on Instagram. I mean, because that's kind of not me, but right now that's kind of what I'm interested in at the end of the day. Not throughout the day, because obviously I have things I have to do. And this is another part of that. The things we have to do in our 3D world, oh my gosh, are super hard to get done now. Like, very hard. And I'm just going to be totally honest with you. I have had such trouble getting motivated to do this video, all right? That's kind of not me. I've had this problem over the last couple months. The thing is, once we're into it, once we actually do the thing, then we can be motivated. Now, why is this maybe not happening to people who aren't awake on this journey? Well, many people in humankind are wrapped up in their crazy busy schedules, right? They're still like that. Doesn't matter if we have a COVID virus going on, but the virus in and of itself, as we talked before, has a multi-layered reason for being here, one of which is to draw us back into ourselves, quieting us down, putting aside the things that don't matter, making decisions about what we are wanting and going to continue to do on a daily basis, regardless of whether it's in your job. How are you going to live your life moving forward? But the point is many people are still on that gerbil wheel, right? So not allowing in, because of course they're not consciously aware of this, right? And they're not awake. They've chosen to continue in this manner, their soul self has, and they'll experience this in a different way. But what we've done is we've opened ourselves up to this, and now we're like, okay, because we're consciously aware of what's going on. And so we then start feeling and knowing what's happening, that it's part of this awakening journey, and we're suddenly not interested in the things that we're doing. That is happening now in spades. Very hard to find anything that is of interest. So understand that it is very much part of this transcendence experience that we are moving to, that we are becoming highly detached, highly unmotivated, and that's difficult because we still live in the 3D world, right? We still have to accomplish our day to day. I will tell you though, once you get into the activity, if you can just get going, you'll get into the rhythm. This is what's happened with me. I have felt highly unmotivated to do most things, including not so much my one-on-one client sessions, because those are a little different, but to be able to sit myself down and do the things on my own. So know that that is natural, that if you are struggling to just even get out of bed, find anything that is joyful to you, that used to bring you joy, that is completely natural. So okay, what they're saying to me now is that we'll come back in a different form. Okay, they're saying they will be narrowed down, to the few things and the people that you enjoy. Okay, this is the shedding. All right, this is just a further shedding of, I guess we kind of thought that wasn't going to feel this extreme, but it is extreme. It also has to do with feeling this way about people that we're maybe very attached to. But what we're doing now, this is another symptom, is we're not so tied up about the outcome. of a thing, right? We're not all wrapped up in the emotion of, oh, well, this thing happened with that person, or having expectations around things. It just is. And it's very hard to accept this because it's not how we've typically operated. We've had expectations. We're hoping for things. We're planning out in the future. Right now, it's not like that. It's a detachment even from people and what you think the outcome is supposed to be, even those you love the most. And actually, this frees up a lot of energy between relationships. So it's actually a benefit, but all of this stuff I'm talking about feels really uncomfortable. So it's all happening to a greater degree. Some of this has been happening all along, right? Like, you're cleaning your house out. You're getting detached from material things. You're not as money focused, blah, blah, blah. But now it's really itchy. Okay, they just gave you that. Yeah, itchy. Okay. Oh, okay. They just said it's going to, okay. They're giving me a visual of like you're really like scrubbing, you're really cleaning it off, you're really getting the last remnants out. And this is why it feels difficult, okay, when you're feeling these extreme things. Detached from family, detached from things, detached from loved ones. Doesn't mean you don't love them, doesn't mean you're not going to have the relationship. It's more from this way of looking at not having expectations, knowing you were in the moment, knowing it will flow to you as you let it go. But again, all that emotion leaves you and you're left with, oh, okay, they just said, okay, the soul of you, but it feels right now to the human like a shell of yourself because you're not used to feeling this way. Okay, that's the key here. You're not used to feeling this way. We are moving from that state of the constructed human experience to the spiritual transcended experience, but you're still human. Okay, that's helpful. And I know this may be a confusing video, but I hope you're taking something away from this because this is hard to talk about because we've talked about a lot of these things in the past, but now it's more extreme and it's, like they said, it's itchier. It's more painful in a different way. It's more of a struggle. But I want you to know it is normal. All right. So let's see. We've talked about detachment from friends, family, things, constructs, detached from constructs. We've talked about this before, but it's even becoming more extreme. Okay. Another symptom is actually a feeling. Many of us during this journey have floating feelings like we're not here. This is in essence, I'm not feeling like it's that much of a grounded thing, but it can be depending on what's going on in your journey. But literally this floating feeling feels as though it's part of the detachment piece, right? So as you detach from these things, you have less energy connecting you to these things and these people. Again, I'm not saying your relationships are ending. I'm not saying they're not going to grow stronger. In fact, the divine ones are going to grow stronger, all right? But what's happening is because you've freed up that, okay, they're talking about that controlling energy, that really pushing and pulling energy. It's now detaching you from all that held you fast. They're channeling this. Okay, to the human constructs. Oh, I have chills. And allowing you to experience, okay, greater transcendence. And that's the feeling that the body has or the mind has. So as you detach further and further, I'm channeling this, by the way, further and further away from the human constructs, the day-to-day, okay, they're saying it almost as though the body feels like it's floating above everything else. Your mind feels that way. You are like that observer, but you know what they keep showing? They just keep showing like a lot of light, like our light bodies, over the rest of humankind. Okay, so that's part of our journey to the transcendent state, but we're going first with this wave to keep holding that light. I've told you about the tent before, holding up the tent. The stanchions were the stanchions. They always give this big event tent for me. And they also show the grid that we're holding that up. This is part of this journey. So we are now detaching from this. This makes so much sense. Detaching from this energy, these energies that held us fast, they're saying, held us fast to the human constructs. This is important. Tied us down. Okay, into the human way of living. Now we're detaching that naturally. All those energetic cords, and they're showing them just whipping away. Okay, now some are slow, but also we're going to keep the ones that matter, the divine relationships that are meant to happen. Wow, I feel really emotional talking about this. This is really interesting. And I've told most of you I'm not that emotional. I don't express it, I guess I would say. And it's a beautiful thing. Okay, this is not, but it feels very difficult because we're not used to living this way. We're moving back into the way we were meant to live. And this is part of it, that moving out of the human construct connections. And when we do that, those energetic cords get cut. And we're here still, but we're not attached. And we're able to do our work as light workers just by being, and not having that heavy human energy attached to all this anymore. Okay, they just said strength of purpose. This is going into 2021. This is why this is happening to so many people. Yep, we're going to feel very, very different, most of us, going into 2021. And I don't want to start talking about 2021 yet, but because I will be doing a channel soon, I think, on what's coming. Okay, let's keep going because I seem to keep getting distracted by them channeling. All right, so I talked about sleeping. That's another symptom. A lot of people don't want to get out of bed, or your sleep hours have changed to going to bed really early, getting up really early. Like I was a midnight person forever. I'm a night person, right? Not anymore. Things are starting to shift and change for me where I just want to go to bed. And honestly, I don't want to get out of bed. Now, you could argue, well, she's depressed. No, that's not it. I'm unmotivated. Yeah. Thankfully, I still enjoy things like getting out of bed and having my coffee in the morning, seeing certain people in my life. There's certain things, but it's very minimal, that bring me supercharged joy. All right. And you're going to have that too. But it's just winnowing down to the few things and people that are doing that for you. Okay. You're going to find diversions too. New diversions. Things where you may say, why am I wasting my time on this? And then you shame yourself and you think that you shouldn't be spending time on this and that it's a waste of time. But there is a reason and purpose for us to be lost in things that might be mindless at this point, especially now toward the end of this year. And I know it feels like, in our human constructed way of living that we're not achieving, we're not being valuable, but we are. We are, because we need this time of, okay, they just said mind rest. Okay, it's not the chatter. They're talking about all the chatter. And to be able to, find comfort in the little things, even if you feel they are just a distraction to what else is going on, which, as we've talked about, is also important, that we are not delving into the detail of all that's going on in the world. I don't need to go through that again. I've talked about that, a multitude of times in the past videos, how we only want to stick our toe in and then get out. We're going through all of this for a reason, and so we can hold more light and keep our vibration high and move into that next phase of transcendence in our spiritual journey, which assists the collective dramatically, whether we feel like it or not, that we're doing anything valuable. Just know all these things here that may make us feel like all we are is depressed. I don't like life anymore. I don't have anything that brings me joy. No, this is all part of this, okay? This is all part of this. You're coming into the place of just being. And that's where that higher self is starting to take over. You're still involved in the human world, in the 3D, but your higher self is leading the way from a state of just isness. That's what they just said, isness. It just is. And you just are, and you just be. That doesn't mean we're all, as I said earlier, moving into a monk state. You will still be doing things. Many people won't even know that you may be feeling this way. You will still be here doing things day to day, but it's very different in how you feel. So just know that this phase is more extreme right now, particularly as what they're saying is as we move through the rest of this year. They keep saying moving into the new year. Okay, they're saying yes, yes, yes. And they're saying critical time for the transcendence of all. Yeah, it's as though nothing matters. It is as though nothing matters. But the key is everything matters. So what you're doing now, what you're going through now, all of these kind of yucky feelings or very uncomfortable feelings or ways of being and behaving and things that you're shedding and all of this may feel extremely uncomfortable, but know that this is part of this process. Lean into it, let it be, keep doing your self-care, and just know this is going to continue through the end of the year. I don't really know yet what's coming as far as anything they've offered me, but I do know prep time, they just said. Yeah, well, right. Prep time for big things to come. Okay, well, I think we know that, but it's really nice to hear that again, and that this is part of this phase. Unmotivated, detached, we're becoming more and more. And what I want you to know as I finish up, it assists us in becoming even more powerful. And you may argue, how can that be when I feel like this? Oh no, it is. It's setting us up in a completely different space of being able to use our soul self, our higher self, our spiritual self to assist the collective forward in this journey. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I know it was a little bit all over the place, but I decided I was just going to talk and channel and give you some ideas on things that you may be experiencing now. If you're not experiencing these now, just know that it likely depends on where you're at in your journey, but a lot of people are coming in now quickly in the awakening and moving into these phases very fast. So there's a huge group of people feeling this right now. And I can't begin to tell you how many people I have talked to in the last couple of weeks that have extreme experiences like this going on, including myself. Every single one of these things I am feeling as well. So that today is what I have to offer to you. I hope you've taken something away, at least a piece of the puzzle for your own spiritual journey. So as I close, keep in mind, I would love to work with all of you. I channel extensively in all of my sessions, information for your own awakening and ascension journey, helping you on your journey forward, giving you pieces of your own puzzle to put into place and to be able to consider for your journey. Through the channeling sessions I do, which are 3 separate ones, I also do distance energy healing and channeling, and then I do spiritual awakening mentoring, where I help you on a regular basis to move forward in your very specific situations that you have. And they are so incredibly powerful. They really open up gateways for people that I have worked with in their energetic journey moving forward as a light worker. So if you'd like to work with me, check out purplerainhealing.com. And again, thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you in the next video.